All right, so a really quick video here about the Paddy Pimblett and Gordon fight, because there was something really funny but also very notable. So we watched the fight. I talked about this. I did another video about Dana's angry press conference, which if you haven't watched that, you should give it a run, because there's a lot of meat on that bone, dude. There was a lot going on, like a lot of moving parts in Dana's press conference with Uncle Liev, with Anthony Smith, Jamal Hill, Glover Teixeira, Jan Blachowicz, Paddy, and Dana blew up. Like he blew up at the presser. But so I went over that in another video that I put up today. You guys should definitely go watch that. And also, if you have never watched my videos before, consider this your first hit. It's free. But if you've watched my videos before, we ask that you subscribe to the channel, and then you can have access to all my videos. It's like you're on the honor system. I work very hard on this channel. That's all I ask. You can watch all my content forever. You just have to subscribe. It costs you nothing. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for the support. And then like and share this if you like it, or don't if you don't, or do if you want to do me a favor. Anyway, so one thing that was hilarious about this, right? Like, so just I'll recap really quick that I thought Gordon won the fight. Okay, I thought Gordon won the fight. I thought it was very obvious when I watched it. When I watched it live, I couldn't hear the commentary. Most of it, for whatever reason, I seem to never be able to hear the commentary. Like I very rarely get to watch the commentary because I went to 8 shows live this year. So obviously you don't hear the commentary there. And then lots of other times I'm either live streaming, I'm live streaming it so you can't have the sound on or else you'll get banged for copyright. And then like last night, Gabrielle, is our anniversary trip. So it was like, we're like doing stuff, like we're like kicking it. I'm watching it, on mute, and I'm chatting in the IRL group, which, by the way, if you haven't joined my IRL group, the link's in the description. It's like a Discord, but it's free. You should definitely come join. Me and Johnny Walker were rapping out throughout the UFC last night. But so without the commentary, I don't know what they're saying. It's just my own eyeballs, right? Is me watching and then interpreting what I'm seeing. And I thought Gordon won. I thought Gordon won. I said this in the other video. I think Paddy has his head straight up. And I think when he gets hit, the fact that his hair has no gel in it, and it's not, he has a bunch of hair that's like, he has a kind of hair that moves. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if this sounds weird, but I really think that optically it looks like he's getting rocked because his hair moves so much. So when he gets hit, it's just that little optical illusion that he's getting hit harder than maybe he actually is, but nonetheless, I still thought Gordon won. Then, and I will restate this, like I said in the other video, I love when the Weasel does his breakdowns. I watched the Weasel's breakdown of who really won, and it was very close, extremely close, way closer than I thought. But he still has Gordon winning, but by a pretty slim margin in both the first and second round. So anyway, okay, so we have a controversial decision, right? You have a superstar, Paddy the Baddy. You have Gordon, who's there to lose to Paddy, right? I mean, that's what he's there to do, okay? No offense to him. It is what it is, dude. Like Paddy and Sean O'Malley are the two next big things, right? Or they're already big things, but potentially really big things. And the only thing that can derail these guys is if they start losing Darren Till. And I'm going to I have another, that's the video everybody should watch today. Actually, you should watch all of them. But the next video I'm going to do is about Darren Till. And I'll talk extensively about Darren Till as a person, his career, and how he ended up getting derailed. I'm not talking about injuries or any of that stuff on a personal level. I have a pretty strong instinct on what is happening there. But anyway, so but Darren Till is the example, right? If Darren Till would have continued to win, he is such a huge draw, right? And those guys are not very common. And so if you're the UFC, you have to feed them winnable fights, okay? Paddy's not at a stage where he's going to try to get a title shot. That's not where he's at. I think it's fair to say he would have a really tough time with the top guys right now, right? And that's no offense to him. Everyone in the UFC is really tough. Everyone in the UFC is really tough, and I'll say that about Darren Till again, because after this fight, for Darren Till, it's like, man, they just really need to give him a tune-up fight, right? And you really think about it, it's like, who is there? honestly, like who is a tune-up fight for Darren Till at 185? They're all killers, dude. You know what I mean? Like even you go to like guys that are outside the top 15, they are dangerous, man. They're dangerous, all of them. Like everyone in the UFC is really good. So like saying, I don't think this guy is going to, fare well against the top 5 guys. That's not like an insult. He's young. He'll get better. But right now he's not there. And so as the organization, you want to help him get there. Most guys, they come in, they sink or they swim, dude. They fight if they put on a good show and they get on the good side of the organization, they move on, they get better fights, but it's a dog eat dog organization. That's just what it is in a dog eat dog sport. And then there are these rare guys where they pose the possibility of being a tremendous value. And so they're going to get winnable fights. But if I'm Gordon and I have that decision go against me, I'm pretty upset, dude, for sure. But nonetheless, so when they asked Dana about it in the press conference, and this was a decision that basically everyone was on the same side. I mean, again, no offense to Paddy, he was way closer than I thought, but everyone seems to be on the same side that they were like, Paddy did not win that fight, right? I mean, like the Weasel did a poll, and 86.5% of the people said that they thought that Gordon won. And I would imagine that 10% of those 14% were probably, diehard Paddy fans, right? So objectively, everyone thought that he won. And I will reiterate, when actually slowed everything down and you watched strike for strike, it was much closer than it looked. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So they asked Dana about this. Now, Dana is not someone who shies away from saying like, oh, that's a shit decision, Like Dana all the time is like, that was a shit decision. These judges, I don't know what the hell they're looking at. But last night, he didn't say that about either fight. And on the Paddy one, they asked him about that. And like, whenever anyone agrees, he always does it. Like when Aljamain Sterling won the title from Peter Yan, he's just like, I thought Yan won that fight. I thought Yan won that fight. Even when like a champion gets crowned. And so in this case, though, he's like, well, Gordon went in there with a shit game plan. He said this 5 times, not once, not twice, 5 times, okay, throughout the press conference, if you watch the whole thing. He said Gordon went out there with a shit game plan, and he tried to just cruise through the 3rd round thinking that he had won the first 2. And he's like, what are you thinking? Like how long have you been watching this sport? You think you had those in the bag? Like you really think and in all honesty, Dana's right about that. If Gordon's game plan was to just hold Paddy against the fence in his mind and go like, oh, I won the first 2, I just need to like cruise through this one. That is a shit game plan, like that was, I mean, what am I trying to say? If he wasn't trying to definitively win the 3rd round, that was dumb. But the point is, Dana did not say a single negative thing about the decision, which was very confusing. I mean, it's not confusing to me because it's Paddy, dude. But at the same, and he just, I mean, that's all he said was that it was Gordon's fault for trying to cruise through the 3rd round. And he was very, very adamant about that. Now, here's what's funny about that, okay? So Dana says that Gordon took the 3rd round off and that's why he lost, okay? Simultaneously, Paddy is doing his post-fight interview at the desk with Anthony, John Anik, and Dominic Cruz, and then the blonde girl that was not Laura Senko. So they asked Paddy, like Paddy had just, like he had fought. This is after the Ankalaev fight. And so Paddy had been onto Twitter and he saw the overwhelming reaction that everyone thought he lost. And so they asked him about it and he was like, they were like, did anything, Anthony's like, did anything about that fight surprise you? And he's like, yeah, it surprised me how hard his head is. He's like, I mean, I like broke a punch. I hit him with crazy shots. He was mad, dude. Paddy was upset that people thought that he lost. Understandably, of course. And so he's like, I was surprised that like he was able to stay awake when I was banging him so hard. But then Paddy says that the reason why he thinks people thought that he lost is because he took the 3rd round off. So simultaneously, you have Dana in the press conference over here, and he's like, yeah, well, Gordon, it's because Gordon took the third round off. And then you have Paddy in an interview at the same time, and Paddy is saying the reason why he people thought he lost because he took the third round off. Okay, so they're both the narrative on both sides is like, oh, they both took the third round off, and that's why they lost. And it's like they probably hadn't seen the scorecards to see that the judges literally agreed on nothing. Like there was not one scorecard that was the same. Which again is ridiculous. And I said this in my other video, I'll say it again. Why can't we just figure out a way to do a point system based on things that happen in the fight? Okay. Go fight in a jiu-jitsu tournament. 2 points for a takedown, 4 points for mount, pass the guard, attempt a submission and get advantage. Like all that stuff. It's like jiu-jitsu should be way harder to judge. Way harder to judge. And somehow it's done effectively all the time. Speaking of which, you should go watch IBJJF No-Gi Worlds on Flow Sports today because Victor Hugo, my professor, is going to be fighting and trying to win Worlds today in the No-Gi. He's in the semifinals in a couple hours. So, yeah, you keep that in mind when you see me moving up the ranks in jiu-jitsu, that my promotions are coming from that guy and Steve Hargett. Number 1 in the world this year, actually. Just got his plaque and all. 2 years in a row. Number 1 in the world. Masters 2. So, yeah, I am extremely gifted when it comes to who my instructors are. That's why I train so much, because I love it. Anyway, so, yeah. If they could figure out how to do scoring in jiu-jitsu, why can't they do it in MMA, dude? Okay? Do the same scoring system as jiu-jitsu and then add in points for strikes, just figure it out, dude. Like figure out what the points are and then just score it that way. Anyway, and take away any points for holding someone against the fence. That should not give you any points. Anyway, that's what I got. Love you guys. Peace.